I'd first like to start off with the shirt I have on is called Hike for Her. It's Together We Can by the FIU Football Cares. My mother-in-law passed away in 2015 of ovarian cancer, and my wife, ever since then, this is our 9th year to do it, correct? And to have a hike for her to spread awareness of ovarian cancer. So we do it with our football team. It was kind of lightning yesterday, so we weren't really able to have a good walk, but we celebrated that. And so there's to raise awareness, and there's I hit this here, and you can scan it, and we sent it to, we had the kids get their phones and took a picture of it and scanned it and sent it to all the special hers in their lives. You know, of course, their mom, their grandparents, their girlfriend, their wives, different things like that, to have them have awareness, to know that we care about them, and be able to try to defeat ovarian cancer. And it's a thing that you have to look at symptoms. It's a tough disease, and my wife has really spearheaded this, and it's as we go through and try to remember her mom, Jenny Rowan, but also at the same time, we want to make sure that we can make every woman that we can to be aware of the different things that could keep this and the symptoms from having ovarian cancer. So we just want to let you know, and so all our kids got all these shirts, and it's just signifying that. So thank you for letting me talk about that for a second. Talk about Central Michigan, Jim McElwain. I know Jim pretty well. He was at Colorado State when I was at Colorado, and also when I was at San Jose State and he was at Colorado State. We played them at both schools. He's done a heck of a job at there at Central Michigan. Probably a lot of people know him from when he was the head coach at Florida. I think he won two SEC championship games or whatever, and I think they let him go, which was pretty amazing to me. But Jim is a heck of a football coach and done a great job there. Their offensive line is big and powerful. They have big running backs. They have a new quarterback this year, Joe Lapis, excuse me, who transferred in from Iowa. Their first game, I would say they almost broke the scoreboard. I don't think they lit the scoreboard up, and so he had a good grasp of the game plan and what they were doing, and very impressed with him. Very impressed with their receivers and their running backs and tight ends. They looked excellent on offense. On defense, they did a great job also. They have a big front. They got good pass rushing defensive ends. Their secondary plays a lot of tight man coverage and does a good job there. So they're a very, very good football team. I think the first team they played 66 to nothing, and they didn't really even try to score in the fourth quarter. So they dominated that game, to say the least. So we got our work cut out for us, and had 2 good days of practice, and so we're headed towards that. But we're excited about opening up our first game in Pitbull Stadium. That's a big deal to us, and we're excited to have a big crowd there, and first home game this season, and so we look forward to have a lot of our students and fans there. So it's exciting to open up the Pitbull Stadium. So I'll take any questions at this time.
Coach, JoJo Evans, can you talk about him? And he was here last year, didn't get to play, and talk about his story and then the performance he had this past Saturday.
Yeah, JoJo's from here in South Florida. He had transferred in. He went to Marshall at first, and then they had a coaching change, and he transferred to Kent State, and then they had another coaching change, and then he transferred here. And last year, basically only in the fall sports, the NCAA would not allow any kid in any sport in the fall sports transfer in and play. They had to sit a year if it was their second transfer, and then they flipped that for the winter and spring sports, which was kind of crazy. So effectively, he'll have another year of eligibility if he wants to play it. He's already graduated, so we'll see what he'll want to do after that. But he gets another year back this next year, or he'll go on to the NFL or whatever. But JoJo's a really good player. We're really excited about having him here. He played really well Saturday. If you've ever met him, he's bubbling with personality and energy, and he brings a great spirit and attitude to the room, and he's a very physical football player. I think he's an excellent safety and very athletic and can do a lot of things. But JoJo's a special kid, and going through that last year was rough on him, especially when all of a sudden we saw the thing come across the line that now they were going to let the spring sports and everything be eligible. he texted me and said, "What's that mean?" I said, "I'll find out." I texted back, "Well, all right, I get another year." So we'll see how that works.
Now, when the safety gets that many tackles, can it be construed as a negative to your overall defense?
Yes and no. We have him in some run fit situations, the way we fit it, to do different things you do with different safeties. But you'd like the linebackers and the D-line to lead the team in tackles. But usually a safety, if he made a few tackles on covering guys and when they made some passes, and he definitely made a few tackles on run game also. But he's just a very active player. I think if they go to his side of the field or they attack his side of the field, he'll still end up having a lot of tackles because he's just that good a player. He doesn't miss many either.
Oh, with the offensive line, they allowed 4 sacks in their first game. Did you see him? What did you see from them maybe in that first game?
Yeah, exactly. We had a couple of the early mistakes. We didn't turn out on a couple things that we had worked on and done, and we just got to coach it better. And then a couple of them were quick game, where we just got to make sure we throw the quick game. It was hard to go back across the field on a quick game. That happens sometimes. But when you watch the game, that's probably one of the best fronts we're going to play all year. And with their first team and their second team coming at us. But we had the very first sack was just a mental error that we had worked on, and I think they were just nervous and don't want that to happen, but that did happen. But I still think they did a lot of really good things when I watched the film against some of the caliber guys they were up against, and so I see a lot of improvement, but no in way, shape, or form do we want 4 sacks. I would say two of them were definitely on themselves, and then the other one was just a timing situation. But we've got to improve and not have those type of things happen, especially early in the game. But I thought they did some good things, and I think they'll play better this week than they did last week. But I do see marked improvement in them.
With Rocky, we know he had the hamstring. Is there anything new on that?
Yeah, Rocky's still trying to nurse that and get that well. We'll find out at the end of the week. It was kind of weird how he when he went back to catch it, I think when he turned, the guy kind of like clipped his heel a little bit and kind of threw his leg off a little bit and made the hamstring get really tight. So hopefully he'll be able to go. But he's a good player, and if he's not out there, we'll miss him. But we got Josiah's a good tight end, and Antonio Ferguson that we brought in. That came in from ECU, that's from Apopka, same as Travion's high school. He's a good player.
No flex. We didn't see him too much. Is that just more trying to get him back?
No, Flex was playing really good, and then he got hit on the other knee, got a bruise on it. They were worried about it hypering, so he kind of stayed to see for it. But he has been practicing full speed and going, so that's kind of what happened there with him.
Talk about Dwight Nunoo and his play.
Yeah, Dwight. Woo! He's a physical linebacker. Have you met Dwight yet? I think you need to meet him. He's got an interesting story, and he's a great young man and a very physical football player. He's going to have a bright future here.
With Central, they had, I think, the worst defense in the MAC, just total. Just what have you seen from their defense?
Well, they're big up front. If you look at their guys, they're aggressive. I don't know if they have a Wyatt out there anymore. Only on Watts. But they've got some really good defensive ends. That one of them dresses number 97. He dresses just like Bosa. He has his sleeve on his leg, and he can rush the passer. He's really a good player. And Michael Heldman. They look very, very active. Yesterday in the games last Thursday that we watched this weekend and watched this week. So I've been impressed with their they look more active. They look more physical to me in the game Thursday than they did in some of the games last year. I think they definitely picked it up a notch there defensively. And offensively, their passing game was really sharp. Really, really sharp, and the quarterback was making really good throws, and the line was protecting him really well. So I was really impressed with both sides of the ball watching it on film.
And then the run game, they bring back the 2 top.
Yes, and they're big running backs. One of them's about the size of Shamari, about 210, and the other guy's like 230. And Miles Bailey is 5'10", 230, and Marion Lukes is 5'9", 210. So they're powerful running backs. They run really hard, and their offensive line does a good job of getting them there on the mid zone and stretch and some counters and different things like that. And they hit the ball downhill and run really hard.
And then I wanted to ask you, I think you're talking about this post game about the coach-to-player system a little bit. Is that something that's happening not just for you guys?
I don't know. We're checking on it now. Everybody said, well, why didn't you get fit? We have been working on that. We had 2 scrimmages and worked on it. We use it in practice. When we have a time in practice, we don't have any problem. We went in the stadium, and we had a little bit of problem, so we got that figured, and then we went to that stadium, and everything was working great before kickoff. And then it started messing up. And but I don't know if y'all noticed, still everybody in the country is still signaling. It's just hard if you trying to say it because a lot of college football teams compared to pro football teams play fast, and if you tell the linebacker, it's hard for him to turn and tell the corner that's way out there and yell it to him you don't hear it. So if you watch all the games, everybody's still signaling. They need to just decide to put it in everybody's helmet, and then they wouldn't have to do the signaling. It's just a different game. In pros, they huddle so much. They do everything in 2 minute. The pros do signal a little bit in 2 minute to at least usually they say it and they signal out to the DBs, which we've working on. But a lot of times it's so hard in college football because they're playing so fast and you're able to have unbalanced formations, which in the pros you don't have, which are all these different things you got to line up to. So it's a lot different game in a lot of aspects with the player to coach to player thing. But when it's working right, it has helped us have good communication, especially linebackers, and really good communication with the quarterback. But it messed up with us on the quarterback. On one of the big third downs, it was messing up, and we had to make a call and quick, and it didn't. We have it all planned, but it just didn't work out as good as we did. So we've got a better plan for that now, because it's going to go out some. I guess it just is.
On defenses, Reggie has it.
Yeah, Reggie. So here's the crazy thing about that. You can only have 1 green dot at a time on the field. So like on defense, you rotate a little bit. Well, the quarterback usually doesn't come out. If the quarterback's coming out, it's kind of a play kind of ends, it stops. You can get another quarterback in there. And he can wear the green dot on the sideline so as he's watching because he's hearing everything. But on defense, if you rotate in linebackers some, which you do, and they have to play special teams and all that, you can't have 2 green dots on the field. So we actually have all our other linebackers have a helmet, and then all the other ones that we're going to go in, we're holding the other helmet in case they have to go in for a green dot. Then they put the other helmet on with the green dot and run in. So there's a lot of a little bit of craziness with that.
But that helmet will rotate to whoever's in.
Yeah. So everybody, we have 4 with the linebackers have them, but only 1 can have a helmet on in the game. But other linebackers play in there that would have it. So if he's out, another guy grabs a green dot helmet and goes in. So he actually has every one of our linebackers has 2 helmets at the game.
Usually, who are the 4 linebackers that have it?
It was Reggie. It's Elijah, Travion, and Dwight. Those are the 4 that have them.
And Reggie, would we start the game with it?
Yeah, he starts the game with it.
He's more of a 3-down backer, right? He plays most downs?
Yeah, he plays most downs, but we sub in. And so when you sub in, you got to have the other guy that you think you're subbing in for nickel or dime. We do that some to keep everybody fresh or get all the things we want to do with that. So it's an interesting logistics issue that we've practiced, and we didn't have any problem with that. We just had problems with it going out.
And you have problems going out only on offense and not on defense?
No, we had it both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the point where you guys just maybe ditched it.
Oh yeah, we went out there and said so they always look for signals, and then if it's talking, then the linebacker can hear it and then he can talk more, and the quarterback's always looking over there. Usually he was able to talk to him more, but we did have a few problems with it. So we've got with the company, we've had them come out, we had them there at the thing, and they were trying to work on it. It's the same system that most every other school in Group of 5 has.
Different teams use different companies, though?
Yes. A lot of the Power 4 teams use the one that the pros use. It's a lot more expensive. And then ours is a good system. There's no doubt about it. A lot of people use it, but we've been having issues with it. So we need to get that all fixed. So hopefully we will. We're working on it now.
Dwight, where does he play? Weak side, strong side?
He plays the mic inside.
Okay.
Yep.
And then he's, I think, from Texas. How did you How did he come on your radar? How did
He was at Garden City Junior College, I believe. Dodge City. They're right there. You kind of go in the same airport. And he played for them. And so we went out there. We watched him on film, really liked him, then started recruiting him, and came down.
How did you find him in Texas?
Well, we were looking for junior college and transfer linebackers, trying to get a couple guys that were older. And so he was one that we found. And then Dwight, Coach DeWitt, had coached in that junior college of the Kansas Junior College League when he was younger, so he knew some people and kind of worked all that. And matter of fact, I think he knew the head coach out there, so it's kind of all worked out that way. It's when you start recruiting, it's interesting how different dots always kind of line up or connections.
Reggie, was it a little weird just seeing maybe one total tackle on the day, knowing he's a guy who usually gives you close to 10 tackles?
The way it happened in the game is how it worked out. Sometimes they run your way, sometimes they don't, and we were rotating linebackers in and out and trying to keep everybody fresh. It was hot and trying to work on that. But he did some really good things in the game besides that.
Last year you couldn't play, had to sit out. How was that frustrating, or what was that like for you?
It was frustrating, but we got a great support team here at FIU. All the coaches, Ryan, all the guys, they always a shoulder to lean on. So it went smooth. It was a learning experience. It's all about perspective. So that's how I looked at it.
Were you in the playbook, and what did you learn from watching? You probably don't have much experience sitting watching.
What not to do in the defense, things that we prevail in, our weaknesses, stuff like that. I was on giving looks for our offense, so it was kind of playing hand to hand. I was still getting reps in our defensive playbook.
And you had 11 tackles this past Saturday. What did that feel like for you? How was the experience?
It was a blessing, honestly, because I sat out a year, but I felt like I could have made more plays, so I was kind of hard on myself, but it was a blessing just being back out there with the guys,
What were the emotions like, going out that time?
It was all over the place, man. My family, it's a lot of people counting on me. A lot of people expect me to make big-time plays, but it's football at the end of the day, so just strapped up, went out there, did my best. Left a few plays out there, but we're going to get better each week.
Just looking over at Central Michigan, what have you noticed about their offense? They're one of the better ones in the half last year.
MAC football, it's always ground and pound, so they're going to try to run the ball, probably try to attack what we put on film, like weaknesses-wise this week, but we fixing all the little things, so we're going to see what happens.
Any guys on their offense that stand out to you?
They got a good back, heavy back, so yes, sir, he going to be the challenge of the week, but it's nothing we not prepared for. We working for him, yes, sir.
And then just being able to play the first game for FIU at Football Stadium.
Yes, sir, that's going to be a great experience. My family, we stay an hour 30 away, so it's going to be a lot of family members coming to this game, so I'm trying to put on for sure.
Maybe Pitbull show up.
Maybe Pitbull will show up. I hope so, man. He got a great fan base, and it'll love to see them pack the stadium.
You say you left a few plays out there. Were that in the running game, the passing game?
I missed maybe 2-3 tackles and dropped the interception, so I feel like I need those definitely sitting out a year. So left a few plays out there, but it's just a blessing being back out there. I'm not gonna cope on it. You live and you learn.
What made their offense so tough?
Indiana, they got a great playbook. I'll say that they got a good offensive playbook. So they didn't know what we was gonna be in, So that's why we kind of right off the gate we started off fast. But really, I'll say we beat ourselves that game. So it was nothing crazy they did. It was more so us. So that's like I said, we fixing the little things. We're gonna click better this week.
Anything else, guys? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take us through that first game for you with FIU.
Well, that first game, what I had to say was that was a big one, man. That was a big one. Coming from junior college and now playing on that big stage, that was a big game.
For you personally, I think it was about 7 tackles. Just what went well for you?
I'll have to say just doing what I was told to do. Just executing what the game plan was for that game, and that's pretty much it.
What made Indiana's offense so tough?
You said what made it tough?
So tough to face.
I'll have to say their O-lineman. Their O-lineman for me was, a big thing, but, just like I was saying, executing and game plan and everything was, went well.
What's the difference you find from junior college level to what you're playing at now?
Oh, I have to say the speed of the game for sure, and then most definitely the O lineman again. You know, I went out there, I was like, man, these IU O linemen are some, you know what I'm saying, some different cats, and so
Just bigger? Or?
just bigger, yeah, just bigger and faster, bigger and faster. And I have to say the skill position too as well. The skill position was faster.
And you're playing the Mike, you're playing what Manuel played last year.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on filling in for him or replacing him?
You know, I knew Don for a little bit. You know, he was a great dude, and you know, when I first came down here, I asked him some tips on, you know what I'm saying, that Mike position, and you know, he gave me some good advice. He was like, hey man, just go out there, and you know what I'm saying, just ball out, man, and you know, just running. What he said was, run and hit. That's what he said. Yep.
Coach was talking a little bit about the helmets, and the U linebackers had to have that, you know, communication system. How was it for you?
That was actually kind of new to me, you know, and with the helmets kind of being in our hair, it kind of helps us out as a defense. You know, Coach DeWitt being at the top, you know, letting me know what to expect. You know, it's really helpful and useful.
How much does it help you communicate with your defense a little bit?
Oh yeah, it helps out 100%. 100%. You know what they expect. Sometimes it's even better to even just look at the sideline, and then you got a coach in your ear. You just like, man, let's rock and roll.
What was it like when you first found out that FIU was interested? Did you know much about it? You know where this was located? You're from Texas. Explain how that whole thing went down.
Okay, so when FIU was interested in me, this how it actually happened, man. I played a game against Butler, and what was crazy was that there was actually a coach that was there that was watching. It was coach. It was a corners coach that was out there, and you know, he seen me out there. I was just balling out. The next day, my linebacker coach, Coach Steven Johnson, was like, "Hey man, you had a great game. I think FIU is interested in you." And I was like, "What? FIU?" You know what I'm saying? And then couple of weeks later, Coach DeWitt came to talk to me, and then that's how the process began.
Who was the corners coach at KC?
Coach DVD. Yeah, Coach DVD was the corners coach.
Now,
Yeah, Coach DVD. Yes, sir.
Looking ahead, Central Michigan brings a lot of returners, especially at the running back position. Just what have you noticed from those guys?
I have to say, you know, they got some big backs, you know, but you know, we're still executing with the game plan.
Anything else, guys? No. Thank you.
Yes, sir.